is Dr. Beverly Goodman, and I'm a marine geoarchaeologist in the Moses Strauss School, Department of Marine Geosciences in the Leon Charney School of Marine Sciences. I'd like to welcome all those who have joined us for this special evening. University of Haifa governors, university administration, distinguished guests, and participants of the Science, Technology, and Innovation Conference, faculty members and friends and supporters of the university. I was especially pleased and flattered when I was invited to act as mistress of ceremonies this evening. My personal roadmap, I think, is a good example of the university's international appeal and support of women in academia. I spent many summers excavating in Caesarea. I held a Fulbright with the University of Haifa. I also came back as a postdoc. And the research that I completed on tsunami deposits offshore from Israel caught the attention of National Geographic. And today I'm a member of their Emerging Explorers program, which forges a permanent relationship between the university and National Geographic, which I'm very proud of. Today, after 16 years after first being introduced to the University of Haifa, I'm blushing a little, I carry an Israeli passport. I'm married to a good-looking native Israeli. And I mix work life with sandbox play with our gorgeous and, of course, highly intelligent toddler. So this evening marks the debut of University of Haifa as an international university, and we are pleased to share with you a few of our diverse international programs. 4 years ago, the university founded the Haifa Center for German and European Studies as a joint project with the German Academic Exchange Service. This collaborative effort was championed and supported by Vice Chairman of the Board of Governors, Professor Manfred Landstein. Another program that has met with great success at the university is the Erasmus Mundus Law and Economics Graduate Program, where European students study here for 1 semester as part of their overall graduate degree. Tonight, we'll introduce to you 5 of our new international programs that are exploring some of today's most profound issues and challenging fields of research. We have 2 programs in marine sciences, Holocaust studies, applied child development, and creative art therapies. These programs reflect our conviction that the study of these compelling issues will enrich our society for generations to come. I now have the privilege to introduce President of the University, Professor Aaron Ben-Zev, a graduate of the Departments of Philosophy and Economics here at the University of Haifa, and who went on to complete his PhD at the University of Chicago. He is considered one of the world's leading experts in the study of emotion, and his research focuses on the study of love and romance. And to the best of my knowledge, these are topics that have great international appeal.
Vice Chairman of the Board, Chairman of the Executive Committee, Rector, Honorable members of the Board of Governors, and distinguished guests. I'm happy to open this session entitled Facing the World, Internationalism at the University of Haifa. The work of the academic person is first and foremost individual work focusing on the scientist field of interest. This is solitary work, done at various strange hours of the day and night. I know that there are some people who work till 1, 2 o'clock, there are some people who work 3, 4 o'clock, but strange hours indeed. However, succeeding, despite the fact that it is a solitary work, succeeding in this work requires the cooperation of other people with various perspectives. Seeing various perspectives is also crucial for moral behavior. I mean, moral behavior is to understand the perspective of the other and act accordingly. Having various perspectives is very important. As an example of various perspectives, I would like to cite Eileen Bulser that said, "When women are depressed, they eat or go shopping. Men invade another country when they are depressed. It is a whole different perspective of looking at things. Similarly, emotional attitudes are narrowly focused and experienced from a very personal and egoistic perspective. The egoistic aspect in love, for example, is evident in the common attitude of, I want you, my love, to be happy, but only with me. The intellectual scientific perspective, on the other hand, is broader and involves the perspectives of various people. Our knowledge is not limited to ourselves, but it is shared by many people who examine and improve it. Unlike the partial and exclusive nature of emotions, cooperation is a key element to scientific progress. This is why we publish our findings, teach, lecture in conferences, and listen to colleagues talk about their work. Collaborating in research projects takes an important role in our life. Also, we collaborate with people and we have various forms of knowledge. We don't always know everything. I can tell you one story. The baseball player, Yogi Berra, which I like to cite, his wife once told him, look, Yogi, you were born, let's say, in Kansas. I don't know, I don't remember the cities, but it's not in Kansas, and then you played in Cleveland, and then you went to New York, and now we are in New Jersey. If, she asked him, God forbid, you'll die before me, where do you want me to bury you? He looked at her and said, surprise me. Okay. For perceiving various perspectives and sharing ideas with other people, we need platforms that enable us to do so. In this regard, we, the Israeli academicians, have to overcome certain disadvantages and built-in shortcomings. Two of the main barriers that make it more difficult for us to reach out to the world are language and our physical isolation and distance from the academic centers of the Western world. Israeli academics never let these facts dictate isolation or being from a provincial perspective. On the contrary, Israel has some of the best researchers in the world and is among the leaders of research achievement in many fields. To meet these goals and maintain our high standards, we have to work harder and make more of an effort, both of which we do with full commitment. Don't worry, it is only one thing. As an institution, the University of Haifa is in the process of a long-term effort to go international and upgrade the university from a peripheral institution on the Israel higher education scene to a forward-looking institution of international renown. We are taking a vital step that will provide more global opportunities for scholars at the University of Haifa and abroad. 10 years ago, when we first opened our international school, we had 160 students enrolled in our English language courses. Last year, 800 foreign students from more than 40 countries took these courses, and we hope to double their number in less than 5 years, and this is the main mission of the rector and the vice rector. The increase in foreign students who take part in our international school programs, as well as the growth in the number of our students who study abroad, and the development of academic ties with top universities all serve to strengthen our international standing as a leading institute. There is still a lot more to do, and we are always looking for new ideas, new perspectives to extend our reach. Thank you very much.
I'm now honored to introduce Professor Batya Laffer, Vice Rector of the University of Haifa, an international expert on the study of foreign languages. She herself has studied 11, and she served as the head of the Department of English, Language, and Literature. She represented the university on the Council for Higher Education and is the director of the new initiative for internationalization of the University of Haifa. I'm pleased to ask Professor Batya Laffer to say a few words in English.
Good evening, friends of the university, distinguished guests, colleagues from academia and administration, and student representatives. The University of Haifa has a vision to internationalize some of its leading programs, to attract a growing number of international students, to increase its intake of international faculty, in short, to transform this university into an international institution. And my job as Vice Rector is to make this dream come true. Internationalization of the University of Haifa is a necessity if we want to be a part of the academic global community. According to the OECD statistics, student mobility and the number of international programs has increased so much in the last decade that there are now 3.3 million students studying in foreign institutions. And there is no reason why the University of Haifa could not become one of these institutions. So what are we going to do to achieve this goal? We'll establish full MA programs with English as the language of instruction, 20 in the next 5 years. We'll design joint and dual degrees with partner universities abroad, and will increase student and faculty exchange considerably. And will be the first university in Israel to adopt the European model of integrating home and overseas students in full degree programs. The entire venture of going global could be very rewarding if and when we're successful. But right now, I can assure you, it presents an enormous challenge. But it's also exciting. Being in charge of international programs gives me the opportunity to engage with the academic excellence of the university. I believe that there can be no internationalization without academic excellence. Therefore, the programs that we decided to globalize are programs that have proven to be successful nationally, programs that offer a unique study material and are directed by people whose academic achievements are truly outstanding. Tonight, I'll introduce you to 5 such programs, and I hope that as you watch my colleagues presenting them, you'll share my enthusiasm and my belief in the potential of this university to become a truly international institution.
Facing the world. In keeping pace with today's increasing globalization, higher education is crossing boundaries. The University of Haifa is developing its international academic ties and is proud to present to you 5 of its latest innovative international programs. Creative art therapies, applied child development, Holocaust studies, marine sciences, marine geosciences, man and the sea, creative art therapies, therapy through movement, music, and drama, healing hearts through creative arts. Apply child development. Invest in young children, and you've invested in the future of society. A program for educational leadership in developing countries. Holocaust studies. Studying the past so that the future does not forget. Researching one of the world's most formative historical events. Marine sciences, marine geosciences. Uncovering the mystery of the sea and harnessing its potential. Understanding global change and its consequences. Searching for alternative energy and new technology. Study the other 70% of the world. Man and the sea. Explore human technological triumphs in the sea. Ancient artificial harbors, navigation, and craft construction. Participate in unraveling the mysteries of sunken ships and their cargoes. Join the academic world of the University of Haifa.
And now I'll introduce you to these programs. The first program will be the Holocaust Studies. Holocaust survivors are living evidence of the world's most horrible genocide. But how can we be sure that remembrance will continue into the future and the voice of Holocaust deniers be silenced forever? The University of Haifa will offer an international MA program that will train a generation of scholars and educators in Holocaust studies. Their research will make the world remember. The director of the program is Professor Aryeh Kochavi and the Associate Director, Dr. Yael Granot-Baum, who will present the program to us.
Even if the firmament were made of parchment, and all the trees were pens, all the seas filled with ink, and every dweller on the earth a scribe, writing day in and day out, never could the Holocaust be described, this Jewish tragedy of our era and of times to come.
Thank you. Last week, as I prepared my notes for this opportunity to speak with you all, I was of course trying to think of how to express what I know is so important, that the study of the Holocaust is as critical as it ever was, both here in Israel and around the world, in a way that wouldn't be cliché or trite. As I often do, I turn to the insights of my wisest advisors, my children. Kids who have grown up all their lives in Israel, where every year they participate in Holocaust memorial ceremonies and experience that siren that goes off, stopping all of us in our tracks and reminding us of one of the most profound examples of evil of the 20th century. These kids are, mind you, who are provided with Holocaust facts and information through their school curriculum, who hear and read stories about the period and visit Holocaust museums. So I asked my kids, why do you think it's important to study the Holocaust? Tomer, my 10-year-old son, said, I actually don't think it's so important to study the Holocaust. What happened there to those people would never happen to us. We have a strong army, and we have our home country, and that would never happen. My 12-year-old daughter, Roni, said, I also don't think we need so much. I'm actually sick of it. We've all heard about it so much. Everyone in the world knows about the Holocaust. Of course everyone knows about it, and no one in the world would ever let it happen again. And then Mayan, my 7-year-old, said, we just have to. It's just something that we have to remember because we weren't there, and so we don't know what happened, and we might forget if we don't keep learning about it. This one was the closest to what I had expected, the message that I've always learned, that those who forget the past are condemned to repeat it. way, each of these voices represent just one of the many Holocaust paradigms that have accompanied us over the past 65 years. Each of them had their time and place and purpose, but we know now, out of the mouth of babes, that new paradigms are needed. New tools are needed to ensure that the lessons of the Holocaust speak to current and future generations and stay central in ways they can understand them in our consciousness, individually and collectively. This is especially true now that the older generation of researchers, largely survivors themselves, scholars who have been at the forefront of Holocaust research and education, who were well versed in European languages, are approaching the end of their careers. Here at the University of Haifa, we have taken it upon ourselves to deal with these questions, practically and theoretically, through a unique multidisciplinary program for MA students. The future teachers, educators, scholars, and parents from all over the world. The basis of all education about the Holocaust is the existence of scientifically supported, high-quality materials. These influence the way in which the memory of the Holocaust is shaped in the education system, in textbooks, in schools, in universities, in museums, and in learned discourse. And despite the vast body of Holocaust literature, there is still much to uncover about Jewish life and culture which once existed and is no more, of persecution targeted at women, of the fate of children who were especially vulnerable during those times. The opening of archives that were once under Soviet control brings to light unexplored sources waiting to be studied and deciphered. There is also a need for true interdisciplinary research on the Holocaust, which will bring together historians, sociologists, social psychologists, social anthropologists, law experts, and others to provide perspective and scope previously overlooked. This is imperative in offering new insights into the mechanisms that make genocide possible in the modern world. Thus, the master's program in Holocaust Studies at the University of Haifa will be devoted to the creation and nurturing of the future generation of Holocaust scholars. And I'd like to share some of its features with you. The approach underlying the program is that Holocaust studies constitute a multidisciplinary field. We offer a rich variety of courses and training in research skills from a wide range of disciplines: history, social psychology, sociology, social anthropology, literature, and genocide studies. The program will serve as a meeting place for Israelis and foreign students from different cultures and backgrounds. It will create opportunities for joint learning experiences, for intellectual enrichment, and for a mutual broadening of horizons. Young Israeli, American, and Western European students today lack knowledge of the European languages crucial for research on the Holocaust. And the result is that fewer and fewer studies are conducted on the core issues of the Holocaust because historical documents from the period written in Hungarian, Polish, Russian, or Romanian, among others, are inaccessible. Our program will offer intense courses in these essential languages. A unique feature of the program will be collaboration with museums and archives of the Holocaust period in Israel and abroad, in which our students will acquire expertise in research based on primary sources. In the context of study visits to Germany and Poland, our students will visit historical sites, archives, and museums related to the Holocaust. The visits will include joint seminars with local students and international scholars, thus making sure our students take an active part in current research trends and international academic discourse. Our students, once graduated and back in their respective countries, will keep the moral obligation of reflecting upon the complex and critical questions raised by the Holocaust, keeping the memory alive and educating our youngsters. In closing, I would like to express the sentiments that others have articulated better than I could. After Auschwitz, it is not enough to teach about Auschwitz. We must teach against Auschwitz. Thank you for listening. I'm honored to invite the singer, Ms. Kרמל and her musical band to perform the song Life is Beautiful from the film by the same name.
Without a reason why, love as if you were a child. Smile, no matter what they tell you. Don't listen to a word they say, 'cause life is beautiful that way. Tears, a tidal wave of tears. Light that slowly disappears. Wait before you close the curtain. There's still another game to play, and life is beautiful that way.
Thank you, Dr. Yael Granot-Bain, and thank you, Kרמל. Our second program is Applied Child Development. Creating a better society depends to a large extent on educating young children. Moreover, when a country invests in child education, it has actually invested in its economy, since it will later save on treating maladjusted adults and will benefit from productivity of healthy, well-integrated individuals. The international program in applied child development, with an emphasis on educational leadership in developing countries, is directed by Professor Avi Sagi-Schwartz, who will present the program to us.
Thank you, Professor Laufer. It gives me a great pleasure to present today a very unique program, perhaps the first of its kind in the entire world, a International MA Program in Applied Child Development. I'm an expert in child development, and one way to describe what we know today in the field and based on the work conducted in the Center for the Study of Child Development at the University of Haifa is summarized in this slide. What we see here is what we call, and I'll do it very briefly because I don't have time, circle of security, society attending to the child's needs. What we know from large amount of research that what we have to do is to provide to a child both a secure base and a safe haven so that the child will feel secure to explore the world and at the same time to be able to return to the same basis in order to feel secure when feels under stress and problems. So the child actually says, watch over me, help me, enjoy with me. And actually that's the role of society to provide the infrastructure and the basis to provide such a circle of security. And please note the beautiful synergy between my expertise and that of the field of economics. Actually, what we have here data coming from the World Bank. And I would like to share with you two most fascinating findings. What we see in the slide, one finding on the top part of the slide is that when we invest in early childhood, actually we increase the national output in 17%. That's one finding. The second finding is that when we invest in early childhood, actually there is a saving of about $7 in national expenditure for each dollar that we invest. And I have down, some photos showing that actually what we save is in clinics for drugs, jail, and homeless, and all kinds of other issues. We have to remember that the World Bank provides gigantic loans to developing countries only when the bank evaluates that there will be adequate infrastructure to generate sources of revenue that will enable return of the loans. One such required infrastructure is in the area of education and child development. So actually, to invest in children, if we conclude, is equal to invest in the future of society. And actually, we feel that we can bring knowledge in child development into the field. As I've shown, actually, it all makes also economic sense to invest in children. Before I present you several examples, I would like to say in this regard that the academic activities of the staff of our Center for the Study of Child Development resonate in the international community, and I'm glad to say that many of my colleagues are sitting here from the Center of Child Development with the audience. And I would like to thank Dr. Tirza Joels, who is the head of the program that I'm describing now. Actually, what we do when I talk about research is a list of topics such as infant and young children, morbidity and mortality, child care, orphanage, foster care, academic motivation in schools, political violence, etc., etc. So we cover a broad number of issues in our center. So actually what we have in mind, the goals are to train professional leadership in developing countries. Actually, we feel that training professional leadership will promote the well-being of children and families in countries in need, what we call developing countries. In fact, we envision attracting the following candidates: students from developed countries who want to develop specialization in working in developing countries, and also, and more importantly maybe, students from developing countries who are already leaders or those who will become leaders in the field upon completion of their graduate training in Haifa. Upon graduation, we anticipate that our graduates will facilitate the translation and application of basic and applied developmental knowledge to burning issues, especially for children and families living in high-risk regions of the world. We know that these toxic environments threaten children's development and may lead to high developmental prices and economic burden. Therefore, accomplishing our goals is consistent with the declaration of the United Nations, as you can see at the bottom of this slide, which is known as the Millennium Development Goals, as laid out for nations experiencing profound and urgent need for support. And what I would like to do now is something different, is to connect you to a project which we call the Empowerment of Mothers in the Bedouin Community. It will give an example what we can do in societies that need intervention and how far we can go. What you see here a picture of an event we conducted where we handed in certificates to a group of 24 mothers who got training of 3 years in our program and actually empowered their capacity to deal in their community with issues of younger children. And actually we have here today with us two dear ladies. One is Samah Abu Yunus. She's sitting with the audience, and she is in charge of the Bedouin early child care system for the Bedouin community in the Galilee, where we work. We work in Gush Segev. And actually the second dear, very dear lady is Fergie Marisat. She is from the village of Salame, and she is going to tell us a story, and I hope that the story is going to be very compelling. Fergie, בבקשה.
קודם כל אני רציתי להגיד תודה רבה לכל הצוות מהמחקר למרכז להתפתחות הילד באוניברסיטת חיפה שנתנו לנו פרס, שאני ככה אומרת פרס גדול על ההדרכה שנתנו לנו למשך 3 שנים.
First, we say that she would like to thank the Center for the Study of Child Development and the University of Haifa for being privileged to get this high prize award of being trained in their community to enhance issues of child development.
הם העבירו לנו, הדריכו אותנו במשך 3 שנים על נושאים חשובים לגידול ילדים ולטפל בילד בגיל הרך. עברנו על הרבה נושאים חשובים בקשר התקשרות רגשית לילדים בגיל הרך.
First, we say that what they got exposed to issues of early child development and what should be done with young children and how to promote the well-being of young children and how they can intervene in doing so.
אחד הנושאים שחשוב מאוד שפעם ראשונה שאנחנו שומעים זה מושג או נושא עניין הבכי, מאחד מהנושאים שעברו העבירו לנו אותו. וכמה משפיע עניין הבכי אם אנחנו התנהגנו לילד בצורה נכונה, מה משפיע לו להתפתחותו ולקידומו.
First is saying that one of the topics, it's only one topic, but one is the idea of crime. What is the meaning of crime of infants and how to interpret the meaning of crime and what to do about crime.
בעבר אמרו לנו, סבתות, אמרת, אמרו לנו שילד בוכה, אם את החלפת לו, לקחת אותו לרופא, לא חולה, לא צריך להרים אותו, אז בוכה, רוצה ידיים, אל תתני לו להירגל על ידיים. אז בהדרכה הזאת העבירו לנו מושג חדש על הבכי, שמה משפיע על בכי. וילד שבוכה תמיד, ואמא לו פונה אליו, שהיא אומרת שאני עשיתי לו הכל, לא צריך לפנות לו, מה משפיע לו. ויצא לנו אחר כך ילד נמנע, ילד בודד, לא רוצה לדבר מה קורה בראש שלו, לא יכול להתפתח ולא לחקור את הסביבה. גם ילד אחר שאמא שלו פעם פונה אליו לפי מצב רוח שלה טוב, היא פונה אליו, מצב רוח טוב שלה במצוקה, לא פונה, תעזוב אותה בוכה, הוא יירגע לבד. יוצא לנו אחר כך ילד מבולבל, לא יודע לחקור, לא יודע להתייחס טוב, הוא לא מתקדם.
Well, let me tell you, Fergie is using, really professional terms that we teach at the MA level, and that's amazing. And what she's saying that according to their tradition in their society, the idea was that when you have a child who cries, you just let the child cry, or maybe you go to the doctor, to the medical doctor. But what they have learned is that the cry has meaning, and one has to respond to the meaning. And what she's saying that she has learned, and the group has learned, that when you respond to the cry, you increase the likelihood of developing a secure child later on. And when you don't respond to the child in various ways, you end up with children who may become insecure in their environment.
אז בסוף יש ילד שאימא שלו משקיעה לו הרבה מאמץ, משקיעה לו הרבה זמן, שהוא פוחד תמיד מפונה אליו, מחבקת אותו, מספיקה לו תקשורת רגשית, מספיקה לו את הזמן שלה, מחייכת, מחבקת, מדברת לו, נותנת לו את הקול שלה, יהיה לנו ילד מבוטח, ילד בעל, מתפתח, מתקדם, יכול לחקור את העולם בעתיד, וילד מוצלח.
She's saying that an extension of what I said before, that when the child cries and the mother understands that she has to respond with a hug, holding, and kissing, and all that kind of activities, actually she increases the likelihood the child will become more secure, and actually that sets the basis for better interaction and exploration in the environment and becoming develop better.
בהדרכה הזאת עברנו על הרבה נושאים חשובים מאוד, דרך הדרכת צילומים תוך המשפחתון וחוץ המשפחתון, והדרכת אמהות, והפכנו אנחנו מטפלות למנהגות, מדריכות לאמהות באוכלוסייה.
As she's saying that actually the benefit of all this program, that they have become leaders in their society. Actually now, by using all kinds of methods of prevention and intervention, actually they could convey the knowledge about child development in a better way to the society at large in their community.
בגלל שאנחנו קיבלנו את המידע מצוות בכיר, מצוות מקצועי, ממרכז התפתחות הילד, וכך אנחנו יכולות לעזור לאמהות באוכלוסייה, יכולות לתת תשובות על שאלות שלהם מקצת שאנחנו קיבלנו את המידע הזה ממקור חזק, ולא פוחדות להשיב או לא פוחדות לתת מידע או לעזור לאמהות. גם בעבודה שלנו נהפכנו לנשים בעלות מקצוע ועבודה מקצועית.
What Fergie is concluding is that actually there was a great deal of empowerment in their society, and as I said before, a great deal of leadership and feeling that they are professionals on the basis of evidence-based knowledge, which is produced at the university. Toda rabba. Thank you very much. I'd like again to thank the community of the Bedouin in the Galilee, and on behalf of the university, I would like to provide a little token to Fergie. Fergie, מתנה קטנה מהאוניברסיטה. תודה ובשיתוף פעולה.
Thank you very much.
Just to conclude, it was just an example of what can be done, with people who really don't have any professional training at the university level, in how far we can go. And actually that's exactly the idea that we have in mind, to bring people who are going to get the training that we have in developing countries so that they could go back to their developing countries with a successful completion of 1 year of study, upon which they are going to get an MA in child development and also a certificate in international child development. Actually, as one can see, I believe in synergy. There are many, many systems, and actually in order for this program to launch well, we need to join forces with many, many organizations. These are NGOs, governments, embassies, and we have here all kinds of related organizations like the World Bank, UNESCO, UNICEF, World Health Organization, OECD, and of course philanthropy. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Sagi Schwartz. Thank you, Virgin. The vision I'm presenting today is mainly about establishing degree programs for international students. But we've had overseas students for years in the university. Most of them do not study for a full degree, but take selected courses in the international school and transfer credits to their home universities. How do they feel here? Let's watch the following film to find out.
Studying in Israel, of course, is an excellent place to study. And Haifa, the city, because it's special, it's got a mix of different cultures, different religions, people from all over the world.
I met many friends. Israeli people is that they are always inviting you somewhere. They're inviting you for holidays, for everything.
One of the really amazing things about the University of Haifa is their ability to create social activities all the time. You get to see Israel and they take you around.
Et studieophold i Israel giver mulighed for at udforske israelsk kultur og historie fra et andet perspektiv end det vi kender i Danmark.
Israel is a very different country than my country, and even like life in Europe is very different.
I chose Haifa University because they have the Peace and Conflict program, and it's based in Israel, where you can say that a lot of conflicts are going on. At the same time, it's a really good university to study them.
The academic level at Haifa University, I find it like very high because it was very interesting for me in many possible levels.
I found a lot of excellent professors, many of them whom I already known from my studies back home in Denmark, where we have been reading their academic journals and books. So I'm really excited to participating in courses where they actually teach the courses.
It's got some outstanding professors, which I knew already before coming here. Actually, theories written by professors teaching at the University of Haifa.
I'd like to invite now Kharmel again to sing Imagine.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. and the world will live as one.
Our next program is Creative Art Therapies. This program provides students with knowledge about the therapeutic power of art, drama, music, dance. The power to bring about emotional well-being and even psychological and social change. Professor Rachel Lev-Wiesel, the director of the program, will tell it all about.
Good evening. Well, you have all heard about the previous programs, but if you really want to join an academic school which has, beside academic studies, is also a community and a great atmosphere, you should join my school. There is a going joke among our students that they try to fail themselves at the second semester of the second year in order to continue studying and extend their studies for another year and remain in the school. Just for some pictures that you can see of the student studying. And the rationale for using arts or means of arts within therapy are several. And the first one, I think, is that creativity means vitality, which leads to growth. And we often work with survivors of trauma, children who has difficulties in verbal abilities, families who have difficulties in express their feelings within the family. And using art enables the expression of unconscious material through the artwork, and which is a symbolic representation. It also helps overcome differences between ethnic groups and languages. Just to show you several examples of the studies and research that we are working within the school, you can see this picture drawn by an 8-year-old female survivor of incest. She was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder that was once called multiple personality. And you can see from her drawing the vertical line. On the vertical line, there are two figures that lean on the vertical lines, and another figure is the head with all the hair holding the whole construct. And she did say that there is one figure who is called the sensual girl, whom was loved by the father, and the other figure is the baby girl who was loved by the mother, and the face is the figure of the mature girl who wanted to leave home and start living in a normal family. This is another drawing drawn by in the same study. Was drawn by a 16-year-old male who also was diagnosed with the dissociative identity disorder. And you can see the three faces, two profiles and a face that faces the world, and two other faces on each one of the shoulders. Another example of drawing, this is from a doctorate thesis of Galit Amir. She studied the cycle of self-injurious behavior in adolescents, in female adolescents who were sexually abused. and how they drew themselves. When they were asked to draw themselves, they drew themselves with the wounds that they did to their body. And the last example is, and this is from another study that we did, which had implications to the field, helping children, helping testimonies of children in court when they brought to court because of child sexual abuse. And this is a drawing of a 5-year-old girl who was sexually abused by her father. She couldn't speak about it, but when she was asked to draw what she had preferred never had happened, that's what she drew, and it helped the judge and others to understand what happened. The objectives of our school is to broaden research in the creative arts, therapies domain, to develop innovative, unique methodologies, to enrich knowledge and expertise of practitioners, to develop new innovative models and intervention techniques, and to enhance the professional status of our therapists among other therapeutic professions, and also to train the next generation of researchers and teachers. Beside the academic curriculum, the students need to acquire practical experience under individual and group supervision. Since we believe that the relationship between academia and the community is important in general and moreover in our profession, we also believe that art can bring positive change to both individuals and communities. We have different projects designed with community leaders and formal welfare, health, and educational services. One example you can see on the screen is called the Drop-In Project with Druze adolescents at risk. Most of them dropped out of school, that's why we called it Drop-In. And we invited them every week to the university. Our students, under supervision, individual and group supervisions, work with these adolescents with art and movement and dance therapy. At this year, at the end of this year, they all dropped back to school. One of the groups that we have the privilege to work with in our school is Avant-Garde. Avant-Garde is a non-profit organization and it is a center for youth operating in 3 cities in Israel. It aims to engage adolescents in general and adolescents at risk together daily and voluntarily in the different modalities of art. By the way, it's dark there, I can't see any one of you, but oh good. Orly Kleinstein-Peled, she's sitting someplace here. She established Avant-Garde and she's the director of Avant-Garde. Vardit Fadia, next to her, she's the director of the music modality in Avant-Garde. She's also a music therapist. I am honored to invite one of Avant-Garde band to perform the song Tango in Heaven. Few lines of the song. Love me and be mine until the heart cries out. Let me feel the pain is all mine. Give me my silence. And now I'm okay. Now I suffer less. Now you reveal and that there is a place where I'm not alone. This was written and composed by Shira Max Hadar.
marine sciences. The Chinese School of Marine Sciences is unique in encompassing the fundamental scientific disciplines of marine research of the sea and its interaction with mankind, maritime civilizations, geosciences, and biology. The holistic, cross-disciplinary approach is the key to understanding complex marine systems, from the coast to seawater, seafloor, and the entire Earth between the sea. We'll watch two international programs. First, Man and the Sea in the Department of Maritime Civilizations. This program explores the relations of human beings with the sea over the ages and will be presented by Dr. Asaf Esurlander. The second program, Marine Geosciences, studies the seafloor and its hidden resources, and that program will be presented by Dr. Beverly Goodman.
Thank you, Professor Laufer, honored guests, and President, Director of the University Board of Governors. The Mediterranean region shares social and economic patterns and modes of contact, which in antiquity, as in the present, have had a strong cultural impact on the land of Israel. At present, the only university in Israel that uses both holistic and interdisciplinary approaches in studying the relations between humankind and the sea is the University of Haifa. The Department of Maritime Civilizations and the Leon Rekanati Institute for Maritime Studies has a 35-year-old record of excellence in conducting maritime and coastal research in world-renowned sites, among which are the Roman harbor at Caesarea, the 2,400-year-old Magan Michael shipwreck, and the Liman Tepe harbor in Turkey. Presently, projects at Tel Kabri, the Dor Lagoon, with its 25 known ancient shipwrecks, and the enigmatic anchorages of Akko are being studied by the department staff and students as part of international academic cooperations. Studies on ancient sea levels, landscape archaeology, marine biology and ecology, then the study of maritime history carried out by the department enriched our knowledge on both the ancient and modern Mediterranean. The international MA program, Man and the Sea, Past, Present and Future, headed by Dr. Dror Engel, is inspired by the same interdisciplinary attitude. It will promote hands-on maritime research for its students in projects encompassing the complex array of interactions between humans and the sea, from prehistory to modern times, using the combined disciplines of coastal and underwater archaeology, marine biology and ecology, maritime history, and marine geology and geomorphology. Based on the combination of infrastructure, experience, and knowledge available in our university, this diverse program would address the interactions between humans and the Mediterranean Sea. Degrees granted by the department will expose students to a comprehensive approach of the study of man and sea, encompassing both the liberal arts and the natural sciences. The program aims to grant master's degree in two general foci or areas in maritime studies: A, history and archaeology, and B, the natural sciences. The duration of studies is spent for 3 semesters or 12 months for an MA program without a written thesis, and 5 semesters or 18 months for an MA degree with a written thesis. Unique features of the program, besides the classes and seminars at the University of Haifa, include Introduction to Coastal and Marine Research Method. This is an intensive, week-long marine and coastal practical, hands-on and geomorphology, archaeology and geology, and ecology during the first semester of studies. We also conduct a survey of coastal sites of Israel. This is an on-site study excursions to major marine sites, focusing on underwater archaeology, geology, and ecology. The pinnacle of the program is the summer semester, which would be a rigorous maritime training in which the students are to pursue their own research at sea and in the laboratories of the Rekanati Institute, each with a personal mentor from the Faculty of Maritime Civilizations. As we see from the examples set by our rector, Professor Faraji, the best way to appreciate underwater archaeology is to see it firsthand. Already students and faculty members from abroad have shown interest in the English program in the Department of Maritime Civilizations. We are certain that our upcoming MA program will continue the tradition of excellence in maritime research at the University of Haifa. Thank you very much. We are much looking forward to welcoming you in our maritime projects. I would like now to invite Dr. Beverly Goodman of the Department of Marine Geoscience.
The Earth today is mostly unexplored. Around 70% of the planet is actually covered by water, and only a small proportion of that entire area has ever been visited or researched. Oceanographer Bob Ballard, who's the discoverer of the Titanic website and also a research partner in our school, he's emphasized that more of the surface of the moon has been mapped than our own ocean floor. The Department of Marine Geosciences is directed at addressing this knowledge gap and bringing forth a generation of Israeli-trained marine scientists who will be equipped with the tools to take on major issues of both national and international concern. Territory, as we all know, is a finite resource. While the coastal zone of Israel consists of approximately 190 kilometers of coastline, and then there's about 12 kilometers of territorial waters, what's not discussed a lot is the exclusive economic zone, which is 200 miles off the coast of Israel. And this is an area that Israel has access to the resources and the permission for exploration. I won't complicate the evening with all of these calculations, but that is a vast territory that's accessible to Israel and it demands further investigation. And we need experts who are trained specifically and especially for that task. The multitude of relevant issues that are being addressed by our department and the recently and other departments within the Leon Charney School include this exclusive economic zone, pollution, fishing, water desalinization, migration of organisms, tourism, recreation, issues that are both, as I mentioned, important for Israel and internationally. While only in the fourth year of its life, our department decided unanimously that it was important to become an English-based international degree program. That is the natural and healthiest thing for our department. Because of the universality of the topics and the desire to prepare our own students for an increasingly shrinking planet, and the necessity to understand how to collaborate across geography, across languages, and across cultures is absolutely paramount to our country's future as well as our students' personal futures. To date, we're laying the foundation. In our case, because of the international nature of the work that we do and the character of our department already, we're bringing in researchers from all over the world. The only thing we really need to do was translate the syllabi. So we have done this. And we already have students represented from Turkey, Canada, Colombia, the USA, and we will be launching a full official program within about 2 years. Currently, we also have relationships that we forged with the Technion for specific program and training in energy innovations and discovery. And this summer, I'm very proud to be directing the first underwater geoarchaeology field school at Caesarea, where we will have students, international students coming from all over the world, including students of the special partnership with Beinlאומית, where they'll have a hands-on experience looking at ancient tsunami deposits in a submerged environment, which is actually a one of a kind of experience that is only found, that has only been published at least here in Israel. Marine research is enormously costly. Ship time, heavy equipment, there's a lot of training, there's a lot of investment, time investment, but we're confident that between our continued academic excellence, which produces healthy grants and allows us to continue our research monies, as well as the support of loyal and generous donors, Cost is really only just a speed bump. In 10 years, I hope to be celebrating, first my son's bar mitzvah first and foremost, but secondly, I hope that we will be celebrating and proudly that we now have our position, that our department is in the position of one of the world's leading marine geoscience programs. Thank you.
I'd like to thank my colleagues again. Thank you, Beverly. Thank you, Yael, Rachel, Avi, Asaf. As I said at the beginning, the University of Haifa has an ambitious vision, and I have a challenging mission, and we all have a dream. So to end this evening, I'd like to invite Kharmel again.
Opportunity to introduce you to a few of the University of Haifa's upcoming international programs. We hope that you will now consider the University of Haifa as an academic home to graduate students from your countries. Thank you, good night, and let's go have some coffee.